My name is Margaret Hall. I'm 69 years old, and let me start with this. I came one phone call away from losing my entire retirement. My Social Security, my pension, my savings, everything. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not being dramatic. I mean it literally. One more minute, and I would have handed over everything I worked for since I was 17. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday morning. Nothing special. I had my cup of tea the same way I have for years. I checked my pills, checked my grocery list, checked my little budget notebook where I track every dollar because, let's be honest, life after 60 is not cheap. Not with prescription prices, not with Medicare gaps, not with the cost of simply being alive. My house was quiet, comfortably quiet. And then my phone rang. A loud, sharp sound that made me jump. I looked at the screen, and that's when my entire body went cold. Social Security Administration. Incoming call. I don't know how long I stared at it. When you're our age, that message doesn't just get your attention, it steals your breath. I answered. Mrs. Margaret Hall? The man's voice was steady, official, cold in a professional way. Yes, this is me. Ma'am, we are calling regarding urgent and serious activity on your Social Security number. Your benefits are at risk of being frozen due to suspected criminal misuse. My heart dropped so fast it hurt. Frozen? My benefits? My only income? I could barely speak. What? What do you mean? He sighed in that heavy, authoritative way that makes you feel like you've already done something wrong. Ma'am, we understand you're upset. Seniors are often victims in these cases, but we can still protect your account and your retirement if you cooperate immediately. That word, immediately, hit me like a hammer. Because when you're 69, you don't have a big safety net. You can't wait and see. You can't fix it later. You don't have decades to recover. He continued, This is strictly confidential. You must not tell anyone. Family members often interfere and cause delays. We need to verify your bank information to stop the fraudulent activity. I swallowed hard. My bank? Yes, ma'am. Please tell me which bank you use and the last digits of your account. If we don't secure it right now, you could lose your savings within minutes. His voice was calm, steady, almost comforting. The kind of voice that makes you trust even when you shouldn't. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't rude. He was convincing, professional, reassuring in the worst possible way. Then he asked, Are you home alone, ma'am? That question made something twist inside me. Why did he need to know that? But fear talks louder than logic. Yes, I'm alone. Good, then we can handle this quietly. Now tell me. That's when a small memory cut through the panic, like a tiny voice trying to reach me. My daughter saying, Mom, if someone ever pressures you, it's a scam. Hang up. And he was pressuring me, softly, skillfully, but pressuring all the same. I took a shaky breath. Let me grab my papers. Just a moment. Of course, ma'am. I will stay on the line, but do not hang up and do not call anyone else. That was the moment everything clicked. A real government worker would never say that. Never. My hand was trembling, but I did it anyway. I hung up. The silence after the call felt louder than the phone ring. I stood there in my kitchen, shaken, embarrassed, angry at myself, and terrified all at once. But I knew I needed to act fast, not out of panic, but out of caution. So I grabbed my bank card, turned it over, and dialed the official number printed on the back. A kind woman answered. I could barely get the words out. I think someone called me, said they were Social Security. She listened patiently and then said with gentle certainty, Mrs. Hall, that was a scam. They target seniors every day. Your account is safe. I felt my whole body relax, like I'd been holding my breath for 10 minutes straight. She explained the signs, slowly and kindly. Real Social Security offices don't call like that. Real agents don't ask for bank information. Scammers fake caller ID numbers. Urgency plus secrecy equals danger. I wrote everything down in my notebook, big, clear letters. When I finally put the phone down, the house felt different. Not quiet, not peaceful. It felt vulnerable, like a reminder that at my age, even a normal Tuesday morning can almost destroy everything you've built. I looked at my Medicare card, my Social Security letters, my bills, and they suddenly felt fragile in my hands. I sat there, breathing slowly, letting the fear settle into something I could understand. And then I asked myself, if this could happen once, what should I do next to protect myself from the next person who tries to fool me? The question hung in the room like a shadow, waiting.
And the answer came to me quietly, almost like my own voice speaking back to me. Start somewhere, Margaret. Start with one small step. So I stood up from the kitchen table, took my notebook with me, and walked slowly into the living room. My legs were still shaky, but my mind was clearer. I sat down on the couch and held my phone for a long moment, feeling its weight in my hand. I wasn't going to let fear decide anything for me anymore. The very first number I dialed was my daughter's. Mom, what's wrong? Are you okay? She always hears everything in my voice. Sweetheart, I think I almost got scammed. I expected disappointment, frustration, maybe even anger. Instead, she said softly, I'm glad you're telling me. Let's figure this out together. Her calmness felt like someone placing a warm hand on my shoulder. I explained everything. The fake Social Security call, the threats, the pressure, the way he spoke like he already owned my fear. She listened without interrupting once. When I finished, she said, Mom, that's exactly how they do it. They target seniors because they know you're careful with your money and you trust official voices. They know you rely on your benefits. Her words stung a little, Not because she meant to hurt me, but because she was right. "I don't want this to happen again," I said quietly. A simple sentence, but it felt like a promise. "Then let's take steps right now," she replied. We spent almost 2 hours on the phone together, slowly, gently, with no rushing. First, we called my bank again. They checked everything once more. Nothing had been touched, nothing was at risk. Then we updated the password for my online banking, a new one, long, unusual, written carefully in my notebook. Then we enabled a security step on my phone. Not complicated, just a small extra layer that made me feel a little safer. Then she helped me log into my Social Security account online. I had never done that before. I always thought, I'm too old for all that. But she guided me gently. "Click here, Mom. Now here. Slow down. It's fine." For the first time, I saw my information on a screen. It felt strange, like reading my own life from the outside, but it also felt reassuring to know I could check things myself. We added important numbers to my phone's favorites list: the bank, Social Security, Medicare, so I wouldn't have to rely on whatever shows up on caller ID. And finally, we made a simple rule. If anything ever sounds urgent, scary, secret, or official, I call her first. When we finished, I sat quietly for a moment and said, "Honey, I feel like I let my guard down. I should have known better." She answered with so much kindness it made me tear up. "Mom, this can happen to anyone. They're professionals at fear. But you caught yourself, and now you're stronger than you were this morning." After we hung up, the house felt warmer. Not safer, not yet, but warmer. I went to my kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and opened the curtains. The sunlight felt gentle on my face, like the world was telling me everything would be okay. But a few days later, something unexpected happened. My phone rang again, another unfamiliar number. My chest tightened, but not with panic this time, with awareness. I answered slowly. "Hello? This is the Social Security Legal Division. We detected, and I didn't let him finish." My voice came out steady, stronger than I expected. "No, I know who you are." There was silence, then a click. He hung up. I stared at the phone for a moment and then laughed, actually laughed, because I realized something important. I wasn't scared anymore. Not in the same way. Not blind, not confused, not frozen. I was aware, alert, prepared. I thought of all the other people my age who might get a call like that. People who live alone. People who don't have someone to call right away. People who trust too easily, because that's how we were raised. And I knew I didn't want anyone else to feel the fear I felt that day. So I decided to tell my story. Not as advice, not as a lesson, but simply as one older woman speaking to another, saying, "This happened to me. If it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. Please be careful." I shared it at my senior center, with my neighbors, with a few friends from church. Every person nodded, recognizing the fear instantly. Some had gotten calls like mine. Some had almost fallen for them. Some had lost money they never got back. And that's when I realized we are stronger when we talk to each other, when we share, when we stay connected. So if you're listening to my story now, hear this from one senior to another. You're not alone. You're not foolish. You're not weak. You're human, and scammers prey on that humanity. And if my story helps even one person pause, one person double check, one person hang up in time, then everything I went through was worth telling. If you have a story like mine, please share it. Someone out there might need to hear it today. And if you want to hear more real experiences, stories that keep us a little safer and a little wiser, stay close. We'll get through this together.